stomach drops? Yeah, I've been there too. Most traders spend months, even years, chasing that breakthrough moment when trading finally clicks. But here's what nobody tells you. Becoming profitable isn't about one big win or finding some secret strategy. It's about subtle shifts in how you think, how you act, and how you respond to the market. Today I'm going to share the real signs that show you're actually making that transformation from struggling trader to consistently profitable one. These aren't the obvious things like making money, because let's be honest, anyone can get lucky for a week or a month. These are the deeper changes that happen inside you before the profits even show up in your account. Let me start with something that might surprise you. When you're becoming a profitable trader, you actually start caring less about individual trades. I know that sounds backwards, but hear me out. When I first started trading, every single position felt like life or death. I'd open a trade and immediately my heart would be pounding. I'd check it every 5 minutes. I'd move my stop loss because I couldn't handle seeing it get close. I'd take profits way too early because I was terrified of losing what I had. Sound familiar? But something shifts when you're on the path to profitability. You start seeing trades as just one execution in a series of hundreds or thousands you'll make over your career. Think about it like this. Imagine you own a coffee shop, and one customer comes in and complains about their latte. Are you going to shut down the whole business? Of course not. You understand that one transaction doesn't define your entire enterprise. Profitable traders develop this same mindset with their trades. This detachment doesn't mean you don't care at all. You're still focused and disciplined. But there's this calm that settles over you. You can take a loss and literally feel nothing about it. Not in a reckless way, but in a mature, professional way. You know your edge plays out over many trades, not just one. I remember the exact moment this clicked for me. I took 3 losses in a row, and instead of feeling devastated or angry, I just thought, okay, that's normal statistical variance. Then I reviewed my journal, confirmed I followed my rules, and moved on to looking for the next setup. That's when I knew something had fundamentally changed in my psychology. The second sign is that you become completely obsessed with process over results. Now everyone says this, but most traders don't actually live it. When you're truly becoming profitable, you can have a winning trade and feel disappointed if you didn't follow your plan. You can have a losing trade and feel satisfied because you executed perfectly. This is counterintuitive to how most people are wired. Think about traditional jobs or businesses. You get rewarded for results. You sell more products, you get a bonus. You complete the project, you get paid. But trading is this weird game where you can do everything right and still lose money, and you can break all your rules and make money. The market doesn't care about rewarding good behavior in the short term. This is why so many traders get confused and develop bad habits. When you're on the path to profitability, you start treating your trading plan like a sacred document. You review every trade not based on whether it made money, but based on whether you followed your entry criteria, your risk management rules, your exit strategy. You keep a detailed journal, and you're brutally honest with it. You write down not just what happened, but what you were thinking and feeling. You note when you hesitated or when you acted impulsively. I've seen traders make money for weeks while completely violating their plan, and they're happy because the account is growing. Then I've seen developing profitable traders take a small loss and be genuinely pleased because they stuck to their strategy perfectly. The second trader is going to make it. The first one is still gambling, even if they're temporarily winning. The difference is that one is building a foundation for long-term success, while the other is building a house of cards that will eventually collapse. Here's another sign that you're making the transition. You start getting really comfortable with missing trades. This one is huge, and almost nobody talks about it. When you're a struggling trader, you have this desperate fear of missing out. The market moves without you, and you feel like you've lost money, even though you never had a position on. You start forcing trades that don't meet your criteria because you can't stand being on the sidelines. But profitable traders understand that capital preservation includes preserving your mental capital, not just your money. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. You wait for your specific setup, even if it means sitting on your hands for hours or days. You watch opportunities pass by that don't fit your system, and you feel fine about it. You know that someone else might make money on that move, but it wasn't your trade. I used to feel physically anxious when I saw the market moving and I wasn't in a position. It felt like leaving money on the table. But then I realized something important. The market is always going to be there. There will always be another opportunity. What won't always be there is your capital if you keep taking random trades just to feel like you're participating. Once I started tracking my trades, I discovered that my best months weren't when I traded the most. They were when I traded the least, but with the highest quality setups. Now let me tell you about something that happens with risk management. When you're becoming profitable, your relationship with stop losses completely transforms. Beginners hate stop losses. They see them as these painful things that take their money away. They'll delete them or move them further away or convince themselves the trade just needs more room to breathe. Profitable traders love their stop losses. They're grateful for them. This might sound crazy, but stick with me. A stop loss is actually a gift you give yourself. It's a predetermined point where you admit you were wrong and move on. Without it, you're at the mercy of your emotions, and emotions are terrible at making trading decisions. When you're becoming profitable, you start sizing your positions based on where your stop loss needs to be, not the other way around. You think, my stop loss needs to be here based on market structure, so I'll adjust my position size to keep my risk at 1%. Struggling traders do the opposite. They think, I want to make $1,000 on this trade, so I'll risk whatever I need to risk. Then they put their stop loss somewhere random or too close because they're trying to squeeze a big profit out of a small move. This is backwards thinking, and it destroys accounts. I'll never forget this one trade I took early in my journey. I had done all my analysis. I knew exactly where my stop should be based on the chart structure, but it meant I could only take a tiny position size to keep my risk at 1%. My ego hated it. I wanted a bigger position. But I followed the rule. The trade hit my stop loss for a small manageable loss. Then the market went way further against where my entry was. If I had taken a bigger position or moved my stop, I would have been devastated. That's when I truly understood that stops aren't the enemy. Ego is the enemy. Another major sign of becoming profitable is that you stop looking for the holy grail. New traders are always searching for that perfect indicator, that secret pattern, that magic strategy that wins every time. They jump from system to system, always thinking the next one will be the answer. They buy courses, they watch endless videos, they try to learn every possible approach to the market. But here's the truth that profitable traders understand. There is no holy grail. Every strategy has losing periods. Every approach has drawbacks. The market goes through different conditions, and what works brilliantly in a trending market might fail in a choppy market. Success doesn't come from finding the perfect system. It comes from mastering one good system and having the discipline to stick with it through the inevitable rough patches. When you're becoming profitable, you stop collecting strategies and start deepening your understanding of one or two approaches. You become an expert at reading the specific setups you trade. You understand not just the rules, but the context around them. You know when your strategy works best and when to be more cautious. You've traded it enough times that it becomes intuitive. Think about a professional chef. They don't know how to make every dish from every cuisine perfectly. They master a specific style and execute it at the highest level. Trading is the same way. I know traders who only trade one pattern on one time frame in one market, and they're consistently profitable. Meanwhile, I know traders who've studied 50 different strategies and can't make money with any of them because they never committed to mastering one. Let's talk about something emotional now. When you're becoming a profitable trader, you develop what I call emotional neutrality toward money. This doesn't mean you don't care about money or that making it doesn't feel good. It means that the money itself stops being the primary emotional driver. You're not trading to feel rich or successful. You're trading because you've built a skill and you're executing that skill. Here's what this looks like in practice. You can take a $500 loss and a $500 win in the same week, and they feel about the same emotionally. You're not on an emotional roller coaster based on your daily P&L. You understand that the money is just a scorecard for how well you're executing your process. Some days you execute well and lose money because of variance. Some days you execute poorly and make money because you got lucky. The profitable trader cares about the execution, knowing that over time, good execution leads to profits. I used to treat every $100 like it was life-changing. A $100 win would make my whole day. A $100 loss would ruin it. My mood was completely tied to my account balance. But as I developed as a trader, something shifted. I started measuring my success by different metrics. Did I wait for my setup? Did I follow my plan? Did I manage my emotions? The money became a byproduct of doing those things well. Another transformation that happens is with your learning approach. Beginning traders are passive learners. They watch videos, they read articles, they take courses, and they absorb information. There's nothing wrong with this at the start. You need to build foundational knowledge, but becoming profitable requires active learning. You need to get in the market and make mistakes. You need to test your ideas with real money, even if it's small amounts. When you're becoming profitable, you start treating the market as your teacher. Every trade is a lesson. Every losing streak is a curriculum. You become curious about your mistakes instead of defensive. When something goes wrong, your first thought isn't the market is rigged or this strategy doesn't work. Your first thought is, what can I learn from this? You review your trades not to beat yourself up, but to genuinely understand what happened and how you can improve. I keep a detailed trading journal, and I review it every week, not just the trades, but the patterns in my behavior. I notice things like, I trade worse after a big win because I get overconfident, or I'm more hesitant on Monday mornings because I'm easing into the week. These insights only come from active observation and honest reflection. You can't learn this stuff from a book or a video. You have to discover it about yourself through experience. Something else that changes is your relationship with other traders. When you're struggling, you tend to compare yourself to everyone. You see someone post their wins on social media and you feel inadequate. You join trading groups and feel intimidated by people who seem to know more than you. You might even feel jealous when others succeed. But as you become profitable, you realize that trading is not a competition. Someone else making money doesn't prevent you from making money. The market is big enough for everyone. You start genuinely celebrating other people's success because you understand how hard this journey is. You become more willing to share what you've learned because you know that helping others doesn't hurt you. You also become much better at filtering information. You realize that most trading content on the internet is not designed to help you succeed. It's designed to get views or sell something. You become selective about who you learn from. You look for people who are actually doing the work, not just talking about it. You value transparency and honesty over flashy results. I used to consume every piece of trading content I could find. I was in 10 different Discord servers, following 100 trading accounts on social media, watching hours of videos every week. But most of it was noise. Now I have a small circle of traders I respect and learn from, and I filter out everything else. This focus has made me better because I'm not constantly being pulled in different directions. Let's talk about confidence, because this is where a lot of confusion happens. When you're becoming profitable, you develop a quiet confidence that's very different from arrogance. Arrogant traders think they've figured out the market. They think they can predict what will happen next. They overtrade because they're so sure of themselves. This kind of confidence is actually dangerous. Real confidence in trading is different. It's knowing that you don't know what the market will do next, but being confident that you can handle whatever happens. It's trusting your process without being attached to any specific outcome. It's being comfortable with uncertainty, which is the fundamental nature of trading. You stop making predictions and start making probability-based decisions. You stop saying the market is going to do this and start saying, given these conditions, there's a favorable risk-reward opportunity here. This subtle shift in language reflects a massive shift in thinking. You're not trying to be right about the market. You're trying to make good risk-adjusted bets. I notice this in how I talk about my trades now compared to a few years ago. I used to tell people, I'm sure this stock is going higher, or I know this is going to break out. Now I say things like, this setup meets my criteria, so I'm taking a position with appropriate risk. It sounds less exciting, but it's much more professional. Finally, and this might be the most important sign, you develop patience on a completely different level. Not just patience to wait for setups, but patience with the entire process of becoming consistently profitable. You understand that building a trading career takes years, not months. You're not trying to get rich quick anymore. You're trying to build sustainable skills that will serve you for decades. You accept that you'll have losing months, maybe even losing quarters. You know that your edge plays out over long periods of time. You're not shaken by short-term results because you're thinking long-term. You've stopped asking, how much can I make this month, and started asking, how can I improve my process this month? This patience extends to your growth as a trader. You're not frustrated that you're not where you want to be yet. You recognize that you're further along than you were 6 months ago, and that's what matters. You measure progress in skills developed, not just money made. You celebrate small improvements, like managing your emotions better or sticking to your plan more consistently. The truth is, becoming a profitable trader is less about finding some external solution and more about internal transformation. It's about changing how you think, how you respond to wins and losses, how you manage your emotions, and how you approach the process. These signs I've shared aren't guarantees of future success, but they're strong indicators that you're on the right path. If you recognize several of these shifts happening in yourself, you're probably a lot closer to consistency than you think.